Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Monday, March 29th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is host of PS I Love You, XOXO, Greg Miller.
Monday.
I didn't know my mic was live. My bad, guys. My bad.
Monday.
I just do
like
that
it.
shit
I like
to myself.
You're giving a nice little thing there, you know? You're giving something, Kev. I appreciate
Yeah, it's like
it. I like
ad-libs.
it.
You're like the Migos. You're like the Quavo to my Offset. I appreciate it.
I don't know what any of that shit meant,
Yeah,
but
what?
it made
Yeah, I
me
knew
feel
you
good
would-
inside. It made me feel good inside. Quavos to
Greg,
you too, my dude.
I watched Invincible.
I love
over
Quavos
the
and eggs,
weekend.
you know what I mean?
Oh my God! Please don't insult Quavo.
Quavos
when I'm on air.
Rancheros.
I watched Invincible over the weekend. I know you're a big Invincible person, and let me tell you, I was blown away.
Dude, you in Paris and a couple other people I were retweeting, and I put up a thing on Saturday or today, maybe Sunday, of like, if you're just getting in, this is, definitely watch this, be a part of it. I was happy to see you freak out about it. I'm so happy to see people freak out about it. Remember, our reactions are up for the first 3 episodes, youtube.com/kindafunny.
Yeah,
But you loved it. You don't know anything about it. You didn't look ahead.
No.
You didn't know anything.
I didn't know anything about it. Like my assumption of it was that it was going to be. I heard somebody compare it to The Boys, and so I was expecting some similarities there. I expected it to be kind of funny because no pun intended, because the art style kind of has like this. It's very much that comic book cartoony art style.
Yeah.
So I was expecting there to be some levity there, but when you get into it, for the first episode, I was convinced that it was what you see is what you get, and I was kind of cool with it. I was like, all right, cool. And then things start to happen and things start to progress, and when things start to happen, I was like, oh shit. All right, here we go. Like the show's really getting in there, and so I've actually hit the point now to where I am super anticipating episode 4. Like I'm probably gonna watch it before I watch Falcon, even. Like that's how much.
Did you have? I saw some people talk. Paris being one of them. Paris Lily, of course, from the Kind of Funny Xcast, talking on Twitter about like there's no way he can wait. He's going to read the comics. Did you have that? Or are you fine just waiting week to week for the show?
I'm fine waiting week to week because I'm not a huge comic person. Though I will say that like the by the time I got to episode 3, I did have the thing where I started looking online and being like, all right, like let me see the comic similarities, like what things changed. Like I saw that they rearranged certain events to happen in certain ways, which I thought was really interesting. But I'm getting really into it. Like I can see myself by the time I finish it, be like, I want more of this, and possibly like that be the gateway to get me into the comic.
Say the word. I'll bring over the Ultimate Editions. You can borrow them. I got them.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
They're
all set for you.
27.
I might be down for that.
Right?
No, those are the trades, right? I'm talking about the giant Ultimate thick hardcovers. Those are
the compendiums.
12. No, that's different. That's that.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about the giant compendiums.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe stayed out of the fucking show, Kevin.
You're right. I'm
you know
sorry.
what I mean?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
This isn't the morning show. That's next. Don't worry about it. Robert Kirkman is coming on Kind of Funny Podcast this week, everybody. Wednesday. You can watch live as we record it with him, the creator of Invincible and The Walking Dead. Wednesday afternoon, patreon.com/kindoffunny. You can catch it later on podcast services and youtube.com/kindoffunny.
What are you hosting
There you go.
now?
But enough. What was that, Kevin?
Oh no, I was just giving Greg shit for hosting.
Oh, I see how it is. Enough about that. Let's talk about Cyberpunk's humongous patch, EA returning to PGA Tour, and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. To be a part of the show, head to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames with bronze members or above. Get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Greg, if I wanted to read through the Invincible comics, how long of a read do you think that'd be?
It depends how fast you read comics.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I don't know what's that. Greg is looking upwards.
With the time change, okay, it's not bad yet. Don't worry. With the time change, right? The sun has started coming. You know, the sun is doing things it normally doesn't do. So last week I had a whole bunch of different gigs. I was on the BAFTAs. I was doing stuff for Dice Awards. I did something for IGN, right? And it wasn't until the final round with IGN. Everybody else I made suffer through the sunlight, like nuclear destroying my face, right? Like I was like, we're tech shooting all this stuff. By the time we get to where we're going, it'll be done. And then IGN was the one thing like, well, we're ahead of schedule. Can you fix it? And I was like, I guess. And so I duct taped a piece of cardboard to it. And so I was like, oh, it won't fall. And it didn't fall all week or whatever, IGN on Thursday and then whatever I did on Friday. And now I put it up again this morning and it did, while you were talking, it just went.
Oh, it did a thing.
I'm like, oh God. Oh,
is
God,
there a way we can get a second screen experience? Because I want to see what the duct tape cardboard looks like against your window.
Yeah, sure. Hold on. I'm going to scratch out my address over on this Amazon package.
Dope. As Greg Miller is doing this thing, his thing, I'm gonna get to housekeeping today. Right after Kind of Funny Games Daily, the Kind of Funny Morning Show returns with Nick, Andy, and Snowbike Michael. You can catch that live on Twitch or catch the archived video on YouTube.com/kindoffunnyplays. And I'm sure on Roger's recap.
The duct tape.
Oh God! Oh no! I'm sure Roger's recap of the streaming week will include some of that in there too. So you have a lot of options if you want to check that out. And then tomorrow is the debut of Mortal Kombat In review, starting with the original movie. I'm on that. I believe it's me, Kevin, Nick, Tim, and Andy. You can catch that on the In Review podcast feed or on youtube.com/kindoffunny. And I'm very excited about that because I love me some Mortal Kombat. And this is my second time watching the original Mortal Kombat movie, and I've not watched Annihilation, its sequel. And so I'm excited to watch that for next week. And so tune in for that if you want that Mortal Kombat goodness.
Times.
Very exciting. And then this Wednesday after KFGD, Greg's stream is raising money for the American Heart Association. You can tune in for the normal Wednesday stream, but this time it's for a good cause. You can donate right now at kindoffunny.com/AHA, American Heart Association. Greg, what do you plan to play for that?
Outriders, baby. You and I are talking a lot about Outriders today on the old PS I Love You too, because I got some things to say about that game.
Yeah. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mick at the Nanobiologist Abramson, Blackjack, and Trent Berry. Today we're brought to you by ExpressVPN, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
There it is.
Kevin, what was the inspiration for that one? I appreciate that.
You know, I had nothing in the bucket, and I just had to shake the bucket around, and it just kept echoing. So
that's what you get when you shake the bucket. Everybody knows that.
That's what happens when you shake the bucket. Let's start with story number 1. Cyberpunk's 1.2 update is huge. I'm going to pull from Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. CD Projekt Red has released the patch notes for Cyberpunk's 2077's 1.2 update, detailing the more than 500 changes set to be included in the game's second major deployment. Patch 1.2 was originally due to release in February and fix remaining prominent issues on last-gen consoles, but its launch was delayed to late March after the studio fell victim to a cyber attack. While there's still no firm release date, on Monday, the Polish developer published an exhaustive list of changes set to be included in 1.2, which include bug fixes, graphical updates, and stability improvements. Graphically, players on all platforms should expect improvements in materials, details, quality, interior and exterior light sources, textures, rendering from afar, and more, according to CDP. On PC, ray tracing will be enabled for AMD cards via its latest GPU drivers. On consoles, CD Projekt says it's fixed multiple game freezes, memory issues, and screen space reflections. Finally, key bug fixes include a new unstuck feature for when vehicles become lodged in scenery, changes to
new unstuck feature.
Changes to NPCs reacted to blocked lanes of traffic, and fixes for instances when cars would launch into the air or teleport during quests. We have a link here, Kevin, if you can pull it up on Twitter from Paul.
Before you go there, you look at here, Blessing. Here's how I'm blocking the sun. This is this Amazon package that I have duct taped up.
This is great.
Were you running out of duct tape, or?
No, I have duct tape.
So
why do you say running out?
You thought, hey, let's use two 4-inch by 2-inch pieces. You're like, you know
Here's
what?
what I'll say, Kevin.
You know what? This is gonna be enough.
So is the cardboard because you don't have? Is it because you don't have a blackout curtain?
Yeah, right now the curtains are drawn. That's all I got. That's all you see right there. And so yeah, the cardboard is to block out the sun. And so yeah, Kevin, if you look, oh God, it's going again. I want you to know that right now. All right, look at it. You got 4 or 5. I guess you have. Right now, there's 6 things of duct tape up there. Every day, 2 pieces does the job. All right, it gets it done. And all since I started doing this last week. So this is my 3rd day doing it. The 2 pieces have been fine. There's something going on with the magma up there. It's too hot. I don't know what's happening today.
Greg, let me preach you the gospel the gospel of blackout curtains, because if you notice, my room has been darker
Sure.
over the last few weeks due to the blackout curtains.
Sure.
They've changed my life. I just put them behind the curtains, or the blinds are already there.
Yeah.
And it's easy. I just
Well,
pull them.
as I've talked about, I talked about it on the Kind of Funny podcast this week. We're moving in like 3 weeks, so like the time's up on this. You know, I'm just trying to get out of this capsule alive. You know, that's all I need. New house or whatever. I'll worry about it there. When I get to the new place, that's the thing to worry about.
That's fair enough. Kevin, there is a link to Paul Tassie's video, which shows the new Cyberpunk police
Is it that
force.
different?
Yeah,
you know what I
here-
mean? Like,
Here's the thing.
go
Like,
ahead,
I feel like this is pretty unfair because this is like, oh, let's watch this, Twitter video. Like, that sucks. Like, that's the absolute worst way to be like, look, the quality's gotten nicer.
No.
right?
But here's my thing about what we're watching. It isn't about like graphics. This is about the cops. Because one
I
of the
see.
things they boast is that the cops are better here or whatever. And they don't look that much better to me. All right. Paul follows up to his own tweet. He says they take a little bit longer to spawn. Because remember, it used to be you do a crime and then cops pop in
turn
right
around.
behind you. Like, oh, fuck, cops. Now you have to
They
worry
just pop
about
out
it.
of thin air.
Yeah, now he says, so Paul's response, and of course Paul, a contributor, or I guess he writes about TV and video games over at Forbes. So his next tweet, his follow-up to this was, they take a little bit longer to spawn and are a little further away. But as you can see, no one shows up in cars, and the, quote, ultimate police guys still just pop into existence like 4 feet from me. Also, this just doesn't look fun. Look at these cops. He's just slowly running up on these cops. They're like, stop.
Yeah. So like there's a whole list of changes that Cyberpunk made for this new update, and they posted their big extensive list of patch changes. And I would love to cover like all the different updates that they added, all the different things that they fixed for this update. But Greg, when you go to the site and scroll through, like actually,
Look at it. It's happening. Kevin's doing it.
Okay, Kevin's doing it. Cool, because I was gonna send you the thing. It is extensive. It would take multiple episodes of KFGD to actually go into the page and detail all these changes. It's ridiculous, and like I wish CD Projekt Red.
This is how fucked up this game was, Kevin.
It is an absurd list of changes. Which one, good for them for being able to identify all this and be able to make changes, being able to make all these changes. I'm sure the list still goes on in terms of things they need to do, but then also in terms of detailing what the changes are, I wish CD Projekt Red did a better job of being like, hey, what are the things that we need to highlight for people, like for people to really know, and how do we communicate that? Because it was only about a week ago where they put up the video of it was a in-game reporter in CD Projekt Red, and they did the whole thing of like, oh, the police force has changed or whatever, but it was in character. And so if you're trying to break that down, or if you're trying to pull out that information and make it more of a detailed professional thing, that became a very difficult thing to do, because they did it in this in-game voice with all the attitude, all the jargon from the Cyberpunk thing. And then on the other side, now you do get the list that is just posted on a blog, but it's so difficult to disseminate. I wish they would just do just a regular video and be like, hey, we're CD Projekt Red. The 1.2 update is coming through. This is what you can look forward to. Here are the big changes, and for the detailed changes, go over to our blog. I wish they would do something like that. But for Greg, for you, like, where do you stand with these changes? Do you think this is going to be a big step toward getting Cyberpunk 2077 where it needs to be? Do you think Cyberpunk 2077 can eventually be fixed?
No, I don't think it can be. I think I don't see a No Man's Sky for Cyberpunk 2077, because it's this weird thing where if you played it on PC, right, and even personally, the experience I had on PlayStation 5 playing the PlayStation 4 version, like, it isn't a game that is broken in this fundamental way. It's that you were lied to about what the game is. And I think all the King's Horses and all the King's Men working to get back to that thing, you're never going to get to what they showed us in those E3 demos, where it was this truly living, breathing world that changes around you. Yeah, like, that's not going to happen. Like, as you know, Paul puts up this thing of the cops, right? Like, this is them trying to fix these issues, trying to like address them, like on a it's like, oh, you complained about the cops spawning behind you, so here you go, and you look at that and you're like, well, this still doesn't look like great interactions with the police, like great fights with the police, not interactions with the police. Excuse me, can I see your license? Oh, sorry, sir, there was a misunderstanding. What a great interaction with the police. No, it's like that still doesn't look fun, right? Like, that's them trying to figure out, like, okay, they don't like where the cops just spawn out of nowhere. Put them there. We have a new way for if your vehicle gets stuck. Okay, like, none of this is sexy and exciting, right? You look at No Man's Land, or No Man's Sky, thank you very much. And the changes they did, right, and the things they would do of adding in people and adding in animals and adding in things, they have gone out of their way to make it look like the trailers and make it look like what was promised. And I think for Cyberpunk 2077, like, the world moves on. And so many people, it's ridiculous when you think about that game of, that was just last year. So many people played it and enjoyed it and never talked about it again. Like, it's a game that failed at its own marketing. It failed at being a game that would resonate in a way that RPGs are supposed to resonate with you. Like, think about how much people talk about The Witcher and talk about The Witcher for years and the quests and the characters and yada, yada, yada. And what? For me, it's like, man, Chris Ann could draw some cool Pan Am smut. Like, I liked hooking up with her in the game. I chased her as my, oh man, it's hot. I chased her as my romance. So it's like, oh, this is cool. Chris liked her too. I like that character, and that's what it is. Like, what was the, like, Keanu Reeves was good in the game. Like, I enjoyed my time with Cyberpunk, but I feel like Cyberpunk is definitely one of those games that I enjoyed like bubblegum, where you enjoy it in the moment, and then as soon as you spit it out, you forget about it, right? Or after the aftertaste goes away. Like, if they were like, we're dropping new DLC for Cyberpunk tomorrow or whatever, or when they eventually do, I guess I'll try it, but I'm not longing for that right now. I'm not craving that. I had my time with it and I was done, and it's a game that didn't live up to expectations on any level.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, when The Witcher 3 came out in 2015, that game was the talk of the year for the rest of the year. Like, that year was pretty much about how, like, The Witcher 3 feels like this step forward. Was that your doorbell?
Yeah, hold on, I gotta check on this. Jesus Christ.
Do your thing. I'll talk to you, Kevin. Witcher 3 was this game that, over the course of the rest of the year, the talk about it was, man, isn't Gwent great? Man, we love these different characters. Man, like, this seems like it's gonna be game of the year. Did you play Witcher 3, Kevin? Were you into Gwent?
No,
dude, Gwent was
I
fucking
really
awesome.
wanted to, and I believe it's available on Xbox right now, for like, right?
On what, Game Pass?
Yeah.
It was at one point.
It was at one point, and I guess I lost my chance. When the show came out, I was like, Greg, can you get me a code? And he's like, dude, the game came out 4 years ago. And I was like, yeah, it's my fault.
Chat is on. Oh, people are saying it's leaving there. Oh, somebody said it's not there anymore. Kindoffunny.com// you're wrong. If you can get me definitive info on that. But I mean, I think it's still
picking this back up. I like this conversation. I don't mean to derail it. FedEx man's bringing up stuff, I guess, that needed to be. I'm a person. I don't know.
But yeah, like The Witcher. The Witcher 3 was a game that over the course of the rest of the year, people kept talking about it, and it lived on. Even in recent years, we've had news stories talking about how The Witcher 3 is still selling. The Witcher 3 is still going. We have the Witcher Netflix show, and it's only been months past Cyberpunk 2077, and talk about it has pretty much dissipated. I don't hear people talk about it, to your point.
And it's to the thing, right? Of like, if it worked for you, again, this is there's so many caveats to this, right? But it was a fun, enjoyable RPG, right? In terms of mechanics and playthrough. And like, I really enjoyed having a goofy looking character and, really putting all my skills into hacking and being able to do that, blah, blah, blah. But like, in the same bubblegum analogy, right? Like, it was the same experience over and over and over again. Like, it got to that thing of, all right, cool, I'm gonna infiltrate. I'm gonna sit on this corner and I'm gonna turn off all these things and move in, do that thing, and I'll do that thing, and I'll get out and I'll do it. And then by the end, when I was trophy grinding, right, like, I was a god. I just ran up and shotgun people to get whatever I needed to do to clear out the side mission. Like, the game never. And it's so hard because there's two different things, I think, where you're talking about, like, obviously it never reached the heights it was promoted as going to reach, and the hype behind it, but then it also just didn't cross that boundary of, all right, this is going to be a game that does more than the average RPG. Like, it does something in a way that, like, I couldn't get out of a Fallout.
That, to me, that was the big bummer for me about Cyberpunk, is that was the promise. By the time I finished Cyberpunk in my original playthrough, I had played a certain way, and I was very excited to go back and try out different, specking out my character in different ways, so I could be a tech assassin, or I could be like this stealthy ninja-like character, or be the person who is totally focused on brute force or close-up weapons or long-range weapons. That freedom of being able to have that player choice and play the way I want to have these different outcomes was the big promise for me with with Cyberpunk 2077. And for that not to have been the case after reading different reviews and reading different impressions and reading what people had to say about the game later on, that was a bummer, because I really enjoyed my first playthrough with Cyberpunk 2077, and I was ready to jump back into it and replay it. And for the question of, can Cyberpunk be fixed, I think I don't think they're going to be able to ever do enough to that game to have that feeling shine through of wanting to do multiple playthroughs with different spec'd out characters. That's first and foremost. Two, as it for it being an RPG that is not this living, breathing thing. I know they have DLC planned for it. I know they've talked about multiplayer, but it doesn't seem like those are going to be coming anytime soon. For this game that is kind of one and done, I don't know how you bring people back into it. I don't know how you get people to continually want to talk about it when we did have our impressions and we dropped off. And then three, the game still isn't on PlayStation. Like you still can't.
Outrageous.
It's been. I saw an article. You shared an article in the Slack.
Yeah, Saturday they put up an article. Right, it's now been 100 days since Cyberpunk 2077 was removed from the PlayStation Store, and IGN's article wasn't like. To their credit, I mean, like, it wasn't like, here's statements from CD Projekt Red and Sony gave them nothing. And it's like, that was kind of the article. Just like, kind of ridiculous, right? That this thing got removed 100 days ago and we know nothing about it coming back and no one's talking about it. And it's like, fuck, you don't even think about it because, again, no one's talking. I feel like if this was, what's the hot game right now that everybody's into? If it was, I'm struggling to think of a game that's dominating the conversation right now on multiple platforms. But if it was a game that was got pulled... Huh? Loop Hero, sure. If Loop Hero was everywhere, right? And it was that thing where people were talking about Loop Hero and loving Loop Hero, but it got pulled from PlayStation, there'd be an active cry from the audience, from the PlayStation fans, of everybody being like, when is it coming? But you'd see updates from PlayStation on when it's, or I'm sorry, from Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red on when they're actually gonna they'd have a plan that you'd hope they'd have all this different stuff, like to dial it to a different way, like that one retro wrestling game that I've been excited for. You remember this one? Retromania, right?
The one coming up, or the one that came out a few years ago?
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Well, the one that's coming up, not
okay.
Retromania Wrestling. Retromania Wrestling, right, is a game that I've been looking forward to on PlayStation. PS I Love You XOXO, and it's this old school arcade wrestling game, right? And it was coming to PlayStation. We talked about it in PS I Love You for the drop, whatever, and then it didn't come. And then I went on their Twitter and they were like, "Hey, like, sorry, it's consoles got held up. Our porting house isn't great at console, or they're not. It's not they're not great, but they didn't know a few things. So it's coming to Steam as usual on the normal date. Switch, PlayStation, Xbox are going to come later. We'll keep you update." And they have literally a daily. You can go to this one link and it gets updated daily with like what's going on, and it's so over communicative. Of all right, cool. The game is approved by PlayStation and we submitted a day one patch that's in the works. And over on Switch, like they're playing the day one patch to approve that. Like there's all these different things in a conversation with their audience because their audience cares about it. But Cyberpunk came and went, and I'm not saying this is apples and oranges to an extent, but it is in the same way of community and actually putting feet to the fire of. Who the fuck cares if Cyberpunk's on PS4? There's nobody clamoring to play Cyberpunk on PS4 because Cyberpunk 2077 is not a genre-defining Game of the Year candidate. Like, it's just not. It's like, oh, whatever. It was a fun game for some people if it worked, and if it didn't work for you, you moved on to one of the other dozens of games there were to play. Yeah.
Do you? Before we move on, last question. Do you? And I think we talked about this over and over again, but with where we're at with the 1.2 update here. Do you foresee it coming back to PlayStation 4?
I do. I think that they will continue to make patch fixes like these that are doing the, all right, cool, the cops aren't like that and you can get out of this and yada, yada, yada. And I think that's trying to alleviate the biggest gripes people had with immersion breaking / game breaking things that, you can eventually put all that into the PlayStation 4 version and put that out there. I don't know how you get around and how you have that actually work in terms of performance, how it'll run, frame rate, stuff like that. That's a bigger issue that they need to go through and do. But I think you have to, because if you don't, like, it's not about the money, obviously, at this point. I don't think about getting it there. I think it's just about trying to salvage your reputation. Because if you do ignore these millions of the more than 100 million PlayStation 4s out there, and you move on to your next project, and that game comes up, like, you're gonna get flogged every time you run up to any media beat about it. Anytime something happens, it's like, well, I remember when I bought it on PlayStation 4 and you took it away, and I can never get it again. Like, they need to have a solution for that, right? And let alone the fact that I know they still want to put out the next gen versions of these games, or patches, or whatever you want to call them, and you can't do that while this is still fucking broken like this. So. Yeah, they have to solve that so that they can have a mea culpa on it and put it behind them and move forward, hopefully, with their audience.
Before we get into story number 2, I want to insert some breaking news from Insomniac at story 1.5. They tweeted this out. Ratchet and Clank 2016 will be playable in 60 FPS on PS5 after a new update in April. As part of the Play at Home campaign, download the game for free through March 31st. So there you go. If you want to play Ratchet and Clank 2016 in 60 FPS, you can very soon on PlayStation 5.
God damn it.
Stuff.
Damn it.
I'm a bit upset because I already started it for the book club, and I'm probably gonna play more of it for the book club. But I might put it on pause. Like I might pause halfway through. Or
this
something
fucking
so
sucks. Yeah, if you don't know, on PS I Love You XOXO, we pick a game every month in 2021 and play it together. And obviously, since Ratchet and Clank 2016 was free, we were doing that one. And every time I've started it and played it, I'm like, oh yeah, like it's fun to get. Oh man, who knew it looked this bad back in 2016? I'm like, God,
yeah,
I could go for some visual effects here, and here it fucking is. God,
yeah.
damn
And I don't want to spoil our book club too much, because that's the thought I keep having while playing Ratchet and Clank currently is like, man, I can't imagine how good Rift Apart's gonna look, because Ratchet and Clank 2016 from the art perspective looks awesome, but there are weird things here and there where I'm like, oh yeah, this is a game from 5-7 years ago, or not.
It's a simple game, right? I feel like it's a simple.
Yeah.
They did, and I understand why, obviously, with what they're doing, but yeah.
Yeah. Story number 2, EA is returning to PGA Tour. This is from Matt Purslow at IGN. EA has announced EA Sports PGA Tour, a new next-gen golf game is currently in development. The game will be the first created as part of a new long-term deal signed with PGA Tour, and it will be built on EA's established Frostbite engine. EA Sports PGA Tour will allow players to build virtual careers and visit many of the most famous golf courses around the world. Also featured will be some of the most famous golf players in the professional world who players will be able to test their skills against. Quote, our team of passionate golf fans is meticulously recreating the world's top courses such as Pebble Beach, and we can't wait to give fans the opportunity to compete on some of the most iconic PGA Tour courses and win the FedEx Cup, said Cam Weber, EA Sports Executive Vice President and General Manager. EA promised that further details about EA Sports PGA Tour will be revealed in the coming weeks, and that within the coming months, a release date will be announced. Greg, are you excited for EA's return to golf?
No, but go get them, golf fans. If it isn't Mario or Hot Shots, I really don't care.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and not as like a golf fan, but more so as a sports fan. We got a question here from Benji Bop, who wrote in to ask, good morning, KFGD crew. EA announced this morning that they're making their first PGA golf game in 6 years. You have to imagine it is influenced by 2K buying the golf club franchise and turning it into PGA 2K21. The interesting thing here is that this is the first time in a long time we'll see two big sports game publishers make the same game with the same license, as far as we can tell. Considering this is a breath of fresh air for a genre that is essentially grinded to a halt in innovation due to exclusive licensing, do you think this could set the tone when other sport leagues licensing deals come up for renewal? Thanks as always. I like the idea of having two different publishers working on the same license and what that's going to do for both PGA Tour 2K21 and EA PGA Tour, which is going to be confusing. But do you think this might set the tone for future sports games?
It really depends on a number of different factors. I don't think it will. I would think that you have a couple different things happening here, and I'm painting with a broad brush, and I know that every day video games become more mainstream and more people of our age bracket get into positions of power that can evolve. But for me, when I look at a mega corporation like the NFL or the NBA, I think that, it came down, Kevin.
That's awesome, because all I heard was the thump and then the sun shined brightly on Greg's face.
It reminds me of that one time, the fucking classic kind of funny GIF moment of when the gel fell off one of the lights and me and Colin freaked out, but Portillo's in my lap and he yawned at the exact same time. So the GIF looks like we're all screaming at the light. For this, I think when you talk about a giant corporation, Portillo heard his name or something. He's coming. No, he's going to the kitchen. That they just want to make money and they want it as easy as possible. And so I guess if PGA on EA and 2K sides they go out and they both do better sales than you would have expected one of them to do when you combine them, you know what I mean? Then perhaps it's there. But I think when you look at something that's the juggernaut of Madden, like in what EA is and the ease of it, the reach of it, the success of it, the brand recognition of it, I really doubt anyone in the NFL is going, this is great, but what if we gave 2K a shot at it as well? I think they're like, this works and this is great. Same when you look at NBA 2K, right? Where there's like, this is fucking. And granted, I know that there's NBA Live or whatever from EA that keeps trying to come back every so often, keeps getting daggered in the heart. But like, it's one of those. I just don't see the impetus being on them. And again, it's part of the fact because these games aren't broken, right? Like I know that I'm not trying to get out on this thing and talk about NBA 2K microtransactions or anything. I don't know it. I know you're mad about it. I understand it. It's not my jam. But you understand what I'm saying in terms of like the grand picture of it. Like people are usually pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
And definitely, and if they're not happy with it, they definitely buy it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's 2K. There are a lot of things that I see people point to where they can improve. Like I know the online for 2K just seems to be bad and consistently be bad. And that's the thing that's where I wish EA would be able to come in and have that competition and actually hold up. But sadly, NBA Live just hasn't been as good as it's needed to be.
And that's the thing, right? Where the competition exists, they're just not being able to compete. They're not actually getting out there and doing it, which is a different argument than like the exclusivity of the NFL.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what people think of it. I think I'm gonna enjoy the back and forth of what 2K21 PGA Tour and the EA PGA Tour are gonna do. And yeah, like stay tuned, I guess, if you're
guys. We don't need it. It doesn't matter. Mario Golf's this year.
That is also true. We're also getting Mario Golf, the king of golf. Story number 3, we got a preview roundup for Nier Replicant version 1.22474487139. ... I'm gonna start. I got multiple previews. I'm gonna pull in here. I'm gonna start off with Alex Donaldson at VG247.
Alex Donaldson.
Their preview, Alex Donaldson's preview, says the Nier remaster changes less than I anticipated, warts and all, and that's brilliant. It goes like this. As a remaster, this is a competent effort to take a flawed cult classic and improve it without going as far as completely redesigning huge chunks of the game. Some perhaps would have wanted that, but if this preview has shown me anything, is that much of what makes Nier special and unique is baked deep into this experience, warts and all. And I'm glad much of that has been dutifully retained. This is a game that has already enjoyed a renaissance and reevaluation as a cult classic in the years following its release. And that makes it an utterly perfect candidate for a remaster. I can't wait for more people to experience it in this improved form. Reese Wood at Tech Radar put out a preview titled Nier Replicant perfects the art of the remaster. Quote, to be frank, Nier Replicant puts most other remasters to shame. Often, it can feel like remasters offer nothing more than slightly upscaled textures, then being thrown onto a current gen storefront before calling it a day. But Nier Replicant doesn't settle for that. Instead, it's entirely raised the bar for how good remasters can be. The end result of Nier Replicant, then, is a remaster/remake hybrid of sorts. Environments are utterly gorgeous now, with vastly improved textures and lighting across the board. While some of the indoor locales do still look a little bland, the upgrades seen in the overworld in small towns that dot the map more than make up for this. Lastly, I'm gonna pull from Michael Hyam, my roommate at GameSpot.
Get him in here to read his own preview.
Oh no, he's not even here. I don't know what he's out and about doing. But he put up a preview titled "Nier Replicant is the revamp needed to retell its emotional story." It goes like this. Although it shares the slick feel of a modern action game, this is very much the original Nier with what it asks you to do in terms of its core gameplay structure. That might make Replicant feel a bit outdated or perhaps a step back if you're coming fresh off of Automata, but admittedly, gameplay isn't exactly why we're here. Nier can be dark and depressing, but also uplifting at certain moments and in small ways. Surviving a broken world to preserve your humanity and your connections with whoever you have left doesn't come without the drama and heart necessary. Just hearing a few of the songs in the soundtrack again hits something deep that I can't quite explain without taking the time to really unpack that emotional response. And yeah, I think that preview pretty much sums up what I'm looking forward to from the game. Like, I'm very much looking forward to Replicant as somebody who played Nier Automata and really, really enjoyed that game. I've not played the original Nier. For to catch people up, if you weren't aware, right? Nier Replicant version 1 point a bunch of numbers is basically the remastering slash remake of a version of the original Nier game. Nier.
It's very easy to understand.
It's very easy to understand.
understand.
The original Nier was a spin-off of the original Drakengard. Basically, in Japan, they released two versions. It was Nier Gestalt, and then there was Nier Replicant. Nier, as you know, and Nier Gestalt came out internationally. Nier Replicant didn't come out internationally, so this is the first international release of Nier Replicant, but it's remastered and up-res and all this different stuff. And I think Michael hit the nail on his head in terms of talking about how the story and being able to capture that story and that energy of that world is really what people are looking forward to. Like I watched some videos this morning that people put up, PlayStation Access specifically put up, of some Nier Replicant gameplay as they were giving their own preview, and watching it very much looked a lot like Nier Automata, which I'm looking forward to, even though I know people had things to say here and there about the look of Nier Automata, like some of the textures maybe don't feel as up to date as they should feel, but I think for that game, as long as you capture the tone of the world, as long as you capture the music and a lot of the artistic vision, I'm fine with it not being this technical masterpiece as long as that art shines through. And so for that, from what Michael's talking about in his preview and how it seems like Replicant captures that, and from what we see from Reese's preview and Alex's preview, right? Like they're talking about how they're taking an imperfect game that had a cult following and maintaining what made it special to that cult following while smoothing out the edges. I think that's awesome, and I'm looking forward to that.
Hell
yeah. We got more breaking news. Greg, do you want to tackle this one? Because I saw you adding it to the doc as I was going.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. They are closing down the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PSP stores. Before, of course, we talked about this, but it was in fact a rumor. Now we have official word from PlayStation. We are closing PlayStation Store on PlayStation 3 consoles on July 2nd, 2021, and PlayStation Vita devices August 27th, 2021. Additionally, the remaining purchase functionality for PSP will also retire on July 2nd, 2021. Then it's a little bit of an FAQ. What features can I use after the closure of the PlayStation Store and purchase functionality on PS3, Vita, and PSP? You will still be able to re-download any previously purchased games, access previously purchased video/media content, able to redeem game and PlayStation Plus vouchers, re-download and play claimed titles through services like PlayStation Plus as long as you remain a member of that service. Features you will lose access to. You will no longer be able to purchase PS3, PS Vita, and PSP digital content, including games and video content. You'll no longer be able to make in-game purchases through games on PS3, PS Vita, PSP. You will no longer be able to redeem PSN Wallet Fund vouchers on PS3, Vita, PSP. A whole bunch of stuff there. How do I access my own games? You can download your own content onto your PS3, Vita, or PSP by accessing the download list on the respective device. I am only active on PS3, Vita, and PSP devices and do not currently own a PS4 or PS5. What will happen to any funds left in my PSN wallet after the closure of the PlayStation Store on these devices? Your PSN wallet funds will remain in your PSN account, but you will only be able to use your wallet funds to purchase PS4 and PS5 products on PlayStation Store and the web, the app on the PlayStation app, or the PS4 or 5 consoles. So it seems like it's exactly what we thought, but here we go. It's official.
God, it's such a bummer. We talked about this, and I think we all understand why this is happening. During the last week, specifically, I was thinking about how this sucks for the Vita, because Scourgebringer is a game that's about to come out on Vita, and that to me, that is such a cool thing that we can still have that happen. That new games can still, if they wanted to, come out on the Vita digital store, and it seems that possibly Scourgebringer might be the last Vita game, which is a bummer for me.
Right here in the chat, we have Uber Guster fan says, Greg, please come out with a Vita Essentials list so I can buy them all before July. That's what we're doing today on PS I Love You XOXO.
Hell
15 must-buy PlayStation Vita games. 5 from me, 5 from Blessing, 5 from you if you're in the live chat on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames.
You can watch that live, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames in about an hour and a half. Or you can catch that, everybody else, on Tuesday when it goes live for everybody.
I'm going to plug in my Vita and start charging it.
Do your thing. Before we get into story number 4, Greg, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Of course, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Does it make sense that the same company who controls half of online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? What about the idea that a single company controls 90% of internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? Big tech is more powerful than most countries are, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and these tech juggernauts, and that's why I recommend ExpressVPN. Think about how much of your life is on the internet. Sadly, every site you visit, video you watch, or message you send gets tracked and data mined. But when you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, something big tech companies can use to personally identify you. So ExpressVPN makes your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and eavesdroppers on your network. And ExpressVPN does all of this without slowing your connection. That's why it's rated the #1 VPN service by CNET and Wired. What I like most about ExpressVPN is how easy it is to use. Download the app on your phone or your computer, tap one button, and you're protected. So stop handing over your personal data to the big tech monopoly that mines your activity and sells your information. Protect yourself with the VPN Kinda Funny Trust to keep us safe online. Visit expressvpn.com/games. That is expressvpn.com/games to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/games right now to learn more. Story number 4, Kojima's next game could be announced soon. This is from Tom Ivan at Video Games Chronicle. Kojima Productions is likely to announce its next game relatively soon. That's according to studio art director Yoji Shinkawa, who was asked if he could share any details about the company's second game during a video interview with AI Hub. Quote, "Well, yeah, I am doing something for sure, and I could tell you probably that we can announce it quite soon," said Shinkawa, a longtime Hideo Kojima collaborator who is best known for his character and mecha design work on the Metal Gear franchise. Kojima Productions confirmed in October 2020 that it was staffing up for a new game project. The Death Stranding developer said at the time that it was seeking the best in-class talent to fill 25 open positions at its Tokyo studio. Greg, does hearing from the man, Yoji Shinkawa himself, fill you with hope that we might see Hideo Kojima's next game revealed sooner than later?
It seems like it's all happening, right? We keep hearing these little glances, these little rumors. Is it going to be Silent Hill? Is it going to be something else? But we keep seeing little percolations out there. Something's going on. Something's happening. But having this here, yeah, of course. Let's go. I can't wait to find out. Yeah. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm always excited for whatever Hideo Kojima is working on, especially when it's with Yoji Shinkawa. Like Yoji Shinkawa, he gets love. You know, we show him love, but I never feel like we show him enough love. I remember it was last year during the release of Last of Us Part 2 where he released his own Last of Us Part 2 inspired art. And it was Ellie. I think Abby was in there. Like all the different characters were in there, but it was in the Yoji Shinkawa style.
Yeah,
and his style is so iconic. And at this point, like pretty much synonymous with Kojima. You know, when I think of a new Kojima game, I want it to be announced with Yoji Shinkawa art because that does kind of characterize his work so well. And so yeah, shout out to Yoji Shinkawa, a talented man, a very very talented man.
When do you think you're going to hear about this new Kojima game?
I think I've said this before on KFGD that I have to stop hoping, you know? When it comes to big announcements, when it comes to the things I'm excited for, I want to allow myself to get excited, but I also want to temper my expectations as much as possible. And so while I want to say that we get it this year, because I don't think
get news of it this year?
Get news of it this year. Yeah, not get the game. Yeah, we get like the reveal trailer or maybe like just the reveal of the name or something. I would like to hope that we get it this year. I'm gonna say by the end of 2022, we get it.
Wow.
I know that's
way
like
out there.
Yeah, that's way out there, but
I'm just saying, dude. I want to
stay safe. I want to protect my own heart.
Jeff Keighley's got a summer game fest to fill. Jeff Keighley's got Game Awards announcements he needs.
Do you think it would be part of that? Like, here's my question:
if they're announcing this game, like the bigger thing would be like if it's another PlayStation exclusive or whatever, what PlayStation would want to get in the way of with State of Play and stuff.
Yeah,
but even then, I think Game Awards teaser from Hideo Kojima, Norman Reedus on a unicycle. Let's go.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. Either that or a PlayStation state of not even a State of Play, because State of Play doesn't feel big enough for that. A PlayStation presentation, I guess. Like some kind of PlayStation presence, I think would be behind that, but I could also see Game Awards because that feels appropriate. That feels like a big enough venue for that.
Blessing, I got good news for you too.
What's that? Oh snap! We got him.
There you go.
Oh my god!
Blessing Jr. His official Wild Aces customized
My Wild
jersey.
Aces jersey just got
I
here.
got all the
Number
customized
64.
jerseys just came in here. Is that what you
Number
requested?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I was
64.
like, I opened this up and I requested these so long ago. I was like, is that a number you wanted?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From
'cause
Merc City
Nintendo
64, of course. Yeah.
I mean, Merc City 64 also. I just love the number 64.
Kevin, did you request one? Good talk, Kev.
People in chat are
I'm
saying
sorry,
he
yes,
doesn't even
yes.
like the Aces.
I requested.
Listen, I like winners, and we won, and
Big
so
Kev,
I'm on the
We're
side.
kind of funny, Kevin. There it is.
You got it. There it is. I'm showing you. Kind of funny, Kevin. There it is.
Kevin, you
Yeah.
requested number 5.
Yeah, it's my favorite number.
Oh, why?
5 fingers.
Exactly, 5 fingers.
Makes
Make
a lot of
fist,
sense.
You know what I mean?
Also, when you're done eating the pie, it's like extra pie.
Also, to the person in chat who said Blessing doesn't like the Wild Aces, I want to remind you, I am the only person with the Wild Aces GIF on Twitter.
It's true.
And so,
What do they mean you don't like the Wild Aces?
I am
What do you mean?
associated. I think because I said that one time that I support the Glacier Boys, but
Oh.
that was mainly me saying I support Quavo and the Migos.
That worked out
But
well
they-
for you too.
But they lost multiple times, and so I cannot
3
associate
times,
with the Glacier
including
Boys
championship. Also, Kevin,
anymore.
look, I got my nerdy MMO mouse. I got a
Oh,
Razer Naga Pro with all the buttons on the side, so I can just be throwing my lightsabers all willy nilly now. Thank you, Razer.
Let's round out the Roper Report
So
with
cool.
story number 5. PAX East has been canceled. This comes directly from a press release. In light of ongoing public health concerns, ReedPop and Penny Arcade will not hold PAX East this year. Given the United States' progress toward addressing COVID-19 in recent months, we are cautiously optimistic. I love their usage of cautiously optimistic. We are cautiously optimistic PAX West and PAX Unplugged will proceed as planned, with in-person festivities September 3rd through 6th and December 10th through 12th, respectively. Since we can't wait until September to reconnect with the wonderful PAX community, PAX Online will return July 15th through 18th. We hope to build on the success of last year's record-breaking event and also engage with our community in new ways, such as the Indie Showcase that will take place between now and PAX Online. Expect to hear more about these exciting plans soon. Unsurprising, Greg.
Yeah. I'm glad to see they're doing it because I know even in this one they're like we're cautiously optimistic that we can make PAX West happen, and with the vaccine rolling out there, I could see them trying to be cautiously optimistic about this one. So I'm glad they're backing off here too. But you do wonder what it's going to be when we go when back to normal, to the new normal, and people are vaccinated, right? Like, what is going to be the state of video game conventions, and how does that work?
yeah.
And who's going to go? You saw this over the weekend, right? Comic-Con trying to do Thanksgiving weekend. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, what a terrible decision. I saw that and I immediately got
I
frustrated.
love
'cause I was like,
Comic-Con. I'm not
dude,
going to
people-
Comic-Con on Thanksgiving weekend.
yeah, like you're gonna make people work. Like people, that's the thing.
That's the
that
other
sucks, that
thing,
people,
yeah.
people aren't gonna be forced to work Comic Con because it's San Diego is the biggest event of the year, and so you're gonna make people miss out on Thanksgiving. The year after Thanksgiving for so many people wasn't like a thing that was able to be celebrated because people were separated and stuff. Do you think that holds? Do you think they move it?
You hope they move it. You hope it's something we don't understand for this Comic-Con business they're talking about. But the fact that it is announced in there and people I saw, are some of our other friends booking hotel rooms for it already. Like, all right, like go at it. But yeah, that's the bigger thing about it, where I think, we're in a very lucky situation, right? Where we get to run our own company and be like, no, you're not sending you. We're not sending anybody to a fucking Comic-Con on Thanksgiving at the end of or in the middle end, whatever you want to call it, of a global pandemic. But like you're saying, there's so many people who have like, fuck. Like,
Yeah, like somebody
DC
like-
Comics is going to have to staff that. Marvel will have to staff
like
that.
somebody
and
who
then
like people who work for Marvel who probably work for the event side of things or have to
Yeah.
show up and set up their booths and manage all that, manage appointments, do all that stuff, and that sucks. I hope they
Totally.
move it. Do you
Yeah.
think what do you think we get PAX back by September for PAX West?
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they did it. I think it would be too soon still. I think that I wouldn't probably feel, I mean, it's so hard to talk about this because the shit I feel changes week to week.
Yeah.
Where I think if you talk to us in February, I'd be like, I don't know when I'm getting vaccinated. Then now I'm like, I fucking should be getting vaccinated anytime, right? Like sometime, right? It seems like it. Like, I don't know.
The last update I saw, and don't
April
hold this as
15th.
gospel. Yeah, it was April 15th.
Yeah,
from-
April 15th here
on
in
Twitter.
San Francisco. Yeah, or in California, right? It's supposed to be
Yeah.
opened up that anybody can get in line. You can sign up for it. Whereas right now it's pre-existing conditions and a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
September's possible for sure. Will people feel comfortable is the bigger thing. You know what I mean? Like that's even right now in SF, right, where indoor dining is back for the first time in forever, and it's limited capacity, but it's that thing of I don't feel comfortable doing that yet because you've been sheltered and the way we've been doing it in California for so long. I feel like it still feels like I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
Like I feel like a lot of it is state by state because there are certain states I look at and I'm like, no, they're definitely comfortable over there.
Totally.
With a big ass event opening up like that. But I wonder if because PAX West is so packed, it's so huge that I wonder if it's a possibility that they're like, okay, let's do it, but let's do it at half capacity. But I wonder if at that point they're like, no, that's too expensive, and we're not making enough money off of half capacity that we do another online thing or what.
I mean, that's back to the big crux of all this, and it's gonna sound like I'm saying in the negative way, but it's also life, right? The money of this, like, and I don't mean it as like you have like Reed Pop's like, money. It's like Reed Pop's are like, oh fuck, we need money. Like we need money right now. We are a business. We have employees. We have these things. I know that we know people from the PAX organization that have been laid off or furloughed or whatever during all this, and so yeah, I think you have, and I saw in the chat too, and obviously when Comic-Con announced their Thanksgiving thing, a number of people being like, is this some kind of weird contractual thing that if you want your space next year, you need to make sure you have something this year? And that's like, what fucking day's open? Thanksgiving. Fucking shit. All right, let's do it and take it on the chin, but hopefully be able to survive till next year. Like PAX, I feel there's probably an impetus to get back to it, to get back to actually doing live events as fast as possible, let alone the fact that no matter how long you wait, your first few live events coming back are not going to be where they were before in terms of revenue, in terms of partners, in terms of participation.
Yeah, Greg, I'm very excited to see when live events get back to full capacity, but that's probably just so far away. If I wanted what's coming out to mom and drop shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds.
It's hard. It's harder than people make it out to be, you know?
Yeah. Out today, we got Doom 3 VR edition for PlayStation VR. Greg, are you going to check that out?
I do want to, yeah. I don't think I'm going to get into it anytime soon. I got a lot of things going on right now with Outriders, some other things we're working on, Redacteds and stuff. Yeah.
Whole lot of games coming out.
Are you jumping in right away?
Probably not. I'd like to, but yeah, it's like you said, right? Like I think this week we're getting Disco Elysium Final Cut, we're getting Outriders, and I want to jump into both of those games. I'm also still trying to play more of Fallout 76, and then also Ratchet and Clank, and then also Fallout New Vegas, and so probably not.
And I mean, I'm not trying to harp on it or anything, but like again, like I talked about at the top of the show, right? We're moving eventually, so it's like I'm already starting to wind things down here and starting to box things up, and it's like I don't know, like tearing apart all my video game stuff to put up my VR stuff to do the thing.
Yeah, PSVR is probably one of those things that you can pack today. I'm not going to get to this until I get to my new place. We also got the Game of Life 2 for a Switch. There's a second one. Neptunia Virtual Stars for PC, and then Elite Dangerous Odysseys Alpha touches down today. I got one new date for you. Rocket League Season 3 is set to begin on April 7th, 2021, and will feature both NASCAR and Formula One bundles. Finally, the crossovers we've all been looking for, NASCAR and Rocket League. We have, for deals of the day, I'd get Xbox, of course, they had their showcase on Friday with what that went down as a 4-hour long showcase.
4 hours!
Yeah.
God damn, we talked ahead of time of like, should we react to this? And it was me and Tim going back and forth. I'm like, I don't think so. I know Drink Boxes, Nobody Save the World is going to be there. We have a preview going live for it. We've reacted to indie stuff before, and it's cool to react with the chat, but it doesn't, like, it's usually not the OMG moment. It's just watching them. Like, I was literally like, we're going to be getting ready. We'll be in the meeting. We're going to do all the reactions to Falcon, to Invincible, to Suicide Squad. Like, Kind of Funny Games Daily can cover all the announcements, and I meant that as Friday's Games Daily because I didn't expect it to go for 4 fucking hours. Yeah, I had to run to an appointment afterwards, and I looked. Jen looked at her thing. She's like, "It's still going." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I started in on it. If you listen to Friday's KFGD, I started, and I was like, "All right, we just got the ID at Xbox, and so we'll keep an eye on Twitter to see what news came out of that." And then someone else in chat was like, "No, it's still going," and I was like, "Really?" And then somebody else was like, "Yeah, it's 4 hours," and I was like, "Fuck, okay, cool." The thing that sucks about it though is that I think. Shout out to them for like making their whole day about that showcase and highlighting all those indie games. I wish what they would have done is done it in 40 minutes and then had a 3-hour follow-up of, all right, now we're doing deep dives, developer interviews, all that stuff, as opposed to making it this 4-hour long elongated event, because there's a whole lot of great shit there. We're gonna actually talk about some of them because you know, the big news breakouts that people were putting up on Friday were about how there are 22 indie games coming out to Xbox Game Pass, and this
Beautiful.
specifically our deal of the day. And you know, if you want to find release dates for specific one of these, I'd say look 'em all of them up. I couldn't find them all in a good condensed form, but they go like this: Art of the Rally from Fun Selector Labs is coming to Game Pass, Cloud, and Console.
You tried.
I very much tried. Astria Ascending from Plugin Digital and Artisan Studios is coming to Cloud and Console. And from here on, I'm just going to say the name of the game and not the studio. Backbone is coming to Cloud and Console.
You're like, I'm done trying already. Goodbye.
Yeah, no, I'm done with it. Boyfriend Dungeon is coming to console and PC. Craftopia is coming to console and PC. Dead Static Drive is coming to console and PC. Edge of Eternity is coming to cloud and console. Hello Neighbor 2 is coming to cloud and console. Again, these are all Game Pass. Library of Ruina is coming to cloud and console Game Pass. Little Witch in the Woods is coming to cloud and console Game Pass. Moonglow Bay is coming to cloud and console. Narita Boy, which if you haven't checked it out yet, you should check it out because that game looks really cool.
It does look cool.
And it's coming out, I believe, in a couple of days. It's coming out this week for sure. It's from Team 17, who you know from games like Overcooked, as a publisher. That's coming out to cloud and console. Nobody Saves the World, which you've heard Greg talk about on First Impressions and on Kind of Funny Xcast. That's coming to cloud and console.
Please go watch it, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, or listen to the Xcast.
Omno is coming to cloud and console. Recompile is coming to cloud and console and PC. And you should know about Recompile because I believe it was part of the original PlayStation presentation, which makes this kind of an interesting get for a Game Pass because that was like aligned with PlayStation, but I digress. Sable is coming to cloud and console. She Dreams Elsewhere, which you've heard us talk about. I talk about this game all the time. That's coming to console and PC. Stalker 2 is coming to cloud and console. The Ascent is coming to cloud, console, and PC. Undungeon is coming to cloud, console, and PC. Way to the Woods is coming to cloud and console. And then The Wild at Heart is coming to console. Again, those are all Game Pass. And during the ID at Xbox event, they talked about way more games. Like there were a bunch of games they talked about, including a game called Lawn Mowing Simulator. Kevin, under Squad Up, because I included this as the Squad Up, but I'm just going to go there directly because it all feeds into this ID at Xbox event. If you can pull up the trailer for this, I got a write-in from Kind of Funny best friend Ryan Powala-Higgins, who wrote in and said, "Hey everyone, on Friday, Skyhook Games announced Lawn Mowing Simulator. I know this is a title which probably doesn't appeal to the majority of the Kind of Funny audience, but for me personally, this is a huge announcement. For most of my adult life, I have sold farm and garden machinery.
Sure.
And 2 years ago, a developer from Skyhook Games came into my dealership asking for advice about lawn tractors. Over the past 2 years, I have been helping Skyhook with any questions or queries they've had, which has ended up with me being in the credits for the game.
That's awesome.
It's probably the first and last time I'll ever get to mix work and pleasure, and it's been an honor. And if anyone from Skyhook is listening to KFGD, I want to thank them for the opportunity." So one, that is an amazing story. Also, during our Kind of Funny stream on Friday, me, Snowbike Mike, and Kevin watched the trailer for Lawn Mowing Simulator. Didn't know that Ryan here was involved in the development at all, but watched it and we're all blown away because it looks cool. Like graphically, it looks awesome. I love the idea of a lawn mowing simulator. And again, shout out to Ryan for that. Congratulations.
I'm looking forward to trying it, but I was also remember the first time Farming Simulator came to PlayStation and I tried to do that and I was like, oh, this isn't as fun as I thought it would be. I understand if you like that kind of game, don't worry, you know what I mean? But like Lawnmower seems like it'll be a bit easier. Like I gotta get the lawnmower, I gotta get the gas, I gotta get the Miracle Grow. I'm assuming, I'm filling in gaps. All they showed me were cool, sexy tractors there.
I've mowed lawns before,
Exactly.
That's the thing. I feel like that'll translate, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like I'm definitely not the lawn mowing sim audience, but
sure,
the fact that like that's the cool thing I think about ID at Xbox and indie games in general is that they are speaking to a lot of pockets of gamers that you wouldn't even think of that exist. And Farm Simulator is so huge for a large amount of gamers. I'm sure lawn mowing sim is going to be similarly big for the players that are going to be into that. And the fact that it was shown off here, and the fact that Ryan got to be involved with it in a really cool way, that's really cool. And so shout out to that. Woo woo. Of course, you can go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong so we can correct it for those listening and watching on YouTube and on podcast services. Benji Bop came through and said that Witcher 3 actually left Game Pass 2 weeks ago. And so that's a tough break for Kevin. But GK Sam does say that Witcher 3 is $20 at GameStop right now, Kevin, if you want to fork up the cash for a very amazing game.
I'm thinking about it.
Wow.
Benji Bop writes in with a missed new date. Wreckfest PS5 edition releases June 1st, 2021, featuring 4K and 60 FPS. Existing owners upgrade for $10. Series S/X version is coming later in the year, but Series X owners recently did get a 60 FPS patch. And then, let's see. I don't know what this is, and that doesn't seem like you're wrong, and so I'm not going to
Get out of here with your
Get outta
editorializing.
here.
Nobody needs it.
Greg, we have a week ahead of us for Kind of Funny Games Daily host. The week goes like this. Tomorrow, it's Greg and Gary Whitta. Wednesday, it's me and Tim. Thursday, it's Andy and Nick for the highly anticipated April Fool's episode. So get hyped for that. And then on Friday, it's me and Lucy James from GameSpot, which I'm very excited about. If you're watching this live on Twitch, after this is the return of the Kind of Funny morning show for one stream only. That'll be Mike, Andy, and Nick. So stay tuned for all the shenanigans. Again, like I said earlier, that'll probably go up, or that'll definitely go up on the Kind of Funny Plays channel as the archive stream. And I'm sure Roger will probably be implementing a lot of that into the week recap for his Kind of Funny stream recap. And so look forward to that. Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, so stick around for that. Otherwise, until next time, Game Daily.